pop-up thing. All right. Okay, guys. So what do you guys currently do for lead generation? What's your favorite or your go-to?
I can just say I just signed up recently with a lead generation that I don't pay for until I close,
Okay.
essentially. But I've only been licensed since June.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why I was eager to hear what you had to say.
I love it. Okay. Okay. That's helpful because then I know where everyone is, right? So in the process. Awesome. Okay. So, well, for me, my favorite thing is educating people. Honestly, when you educate, oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, someone's trying to get in. Okay. Anyway, so I believe that education is the best way to get people comfortable with doing, what we want them to do. So for me, I really feel, oh my goodness gracious. Okay. I don't know how to help this person right now. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to try and see if I can invite her real quick. I don't know how else to do this. Okay, well, that's fine. All right. Sorry, my brain is kind of going sideways now. Okay, let's well, so anyway, all right. So education is the kind of the key piece of everything. If you help buyers, you want to give them, in my opinion, you want to give them everything they need to know, like the minimums, the minimum down payment, the minimum credit score they need. You want to tell them the things that are going to show them how easy it is to get in, to get started, that sort of thing. At least that's what I do. I have a Facebook group where it's basically for first time home buyers, because first time home buyers are kind of my favorite. So I will post in there a lot of times, like I have a video up at the very top that I have pinned to the top of the group. And it basically talks about, the minimum credit score of 580 and how, with an FHA loan, you can get pre-approved with that credit score. And so like I've had people who have come to me and basically said, Corey, if it wasn't for you, I never would have known I could buy a home. And to me, that was very powerful because it was kind of like, it was an aha moment for me, right? Like I take this stuff for granted. You can get this information, you can do whatever with it and anyone has access to it, but not everyone knows just because it's out there. So really being the person to explain to people how easy it is, the bottom lines for them, I guess, kind of dispelling any myths, like 20% down is what's required of you, those sorts of things. It really opens people's eyes and makes them go, oh, this might actually be possible for me. And that's something that I think once you open their eyes to that, like it just changes everything and it just really gets them excited and kind of gets them like ready to do something. So, all right. So, well, what questions, how can I help? What questions do you guys have that I can, kind of feed off of, let's say? No questions, guys? I'm sure you have questions. Okay. Did you have something, Beth? Okay.
I'll ask a question.
Suggestions for sellers who have to find somewhere else to move, like how to get them to get their act together and, you know, figure out what they want to do next.
Okay. Okay. So, is it a listing you already have and they're kind of, okay. So we're kind of struggling a little bit, just figuring out the next steps for them. I would say, I'm assuming you've asked them like flat out, like what's your plan, right?
Oh, I did actually. So the interesting thing is before they signed up, we talked about it a number of months ago, and I have somewhere to go. I have somewhere to go. When I sat down for the listing appointment, I have places to go. I have places to go. Got an offer. I've got nowhere to go. I'm like,
Oh
you're
no.
killing her.
Right. Okay. So that's kind of a hard one. For me, when I get in situations like that, it kind of pulls everything out of me, right? Like it's like, okay, it makes me be more like the solution finder. And so oftentimes, I'll try and figure out then what where they're going, like what the thing is that they're looking for, and then I start basically beating the streets, and trying to figure out, like talking to other brokers or, those kinds of things, or posting on Facebook and saying, hey, I've got a client who's needing X, Y, and Z in, so much time, and kind of selling them as a buyer the way you would a house. That's one thing that I've done. Once I know kind of what they're looking for, then I can definitely take it and take it to the next level and kind of up my game and try and find them the next property, or figure out how to help them move forward, that sort of thing. What
Okay.
do they have? I mean, they have the offer, so they have the drop dead date, basically. Like, what are they? And they're not doing anything.
Nope, won't sign. Well, actually, won't sign the offer. Won't,
Oh no.
Over asking cash, the whole 9 yards. Won't
Oh
just
my gosh.
do anything. So
Oh no. Okay. Well, we need to get them moving.
I've taken him to see some rental properties, everything from low end to luxury apartments. He's even looked at a couple of houses. It's like
Oh my gosh.
nothing.
Nothing's making him go. Well, I guess, I mean, for me, I would start with trying to get him to sign the stinking offer, right? And then like, or I mean, that's one thing, I guess, but then having, like you've done already, a couple options for them of places to go that, would work for them. Like, okay, and maybe it's just time to have a heart to heart and say, hey, do you really want to sell? Because
Yeah.
you have everything on the table if you do, or, are you gonna wait? And that's hard. I hate, having to do that,
Yeah.
but I think it's that point, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, well, you'll have to keep me updated and let me know how it goes. All right. No worries, Charles. Thank you. Yes, I'm recording. Okay. All right, guys. So where are all of you, like location wise? I know Carolyn, but everyone else.
I'm in LA.
Okay. Florida. Okay.
I'm in Northern California.
Okay. So a couple from California, Florida. Okay. I am up in Washington State. So just so you guys know where I am. Anyway, so who are your guys' ideal clients? Do you have do you have a preference of, buyers or sellers or first time home buyers, or, have you kind of sat down and looked at like, this is the person, if I was going to attract someone to me, this is the person I'm trying to find?
For me, so I told you I was licensed in June, and I closed my first deal 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
And she was a first time home buyer.
Okay.
And I definitely liked the way that felt.
Yes,
Because it was so exciting for her.
exactly.
But I also have a heart for the military. So VA is what I'm looking to possibly specialize in.
Okay. Okay. I think that that's wonderful. When you have kind of an idea and you have, a feeling and a sense of, these are the people that I'm called to help, it makes it a lot easier to start trying to attract people to you. I guess I didn't say that. That is what I do. Like, I love attraction marketing. I am not a salesy salesperson. Like, I do not go and chase people down. I don't do any of that. I put people into my Facebook group, and, I figure we're all adults. Like, if you tell me you want to fix your credit and I give you the resources, like, I'm here for you to come and ask me questions and whatever, but I'm not going to be on your ass. Like, have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? Because that's not me. Like, maybe with my kids, but not an adult. Like, we should be able to do this. So, I don't push, and I don't like pester people too much. I educate them, and I give them what they need in order to be able to make a decision to move forward. But I think that figuring out first who you want to help is the biggest piece of that puzzle, because once you know who you want to help, you can tailor your message to them, and that really will start to attract people to you. Because when you start talking and you start telling stories and you start saying, hey, I just helped this first time home buyer, and, here's the experience we had. It was a first time mom, or single mom, I mean, or, whatever the situation was. And basically, if you start telling stories and saying, we got down payment assistance, or we got closing cost help, or, you kind of describe how you're helping people, and like how this is possible, even when it seems impossible, to some people. It really makes it like you want to be the storyteller that makes them see themselves in that situation, and so being that person to kind of show them or make them see that it's easy, and it's not, I mean, not that it's easy, but it's not as hard as people think it is, right? And so anyway, so I think, what I would say is for you, Nicole, like two Nicoles, but sorry. But basically I would say, do something like consider setting up a group, a Facebook group or something in your area for, your people, for the military people, for whoever, join other Facebook groups and offer your services. Like, do it in an educational way. I can help with this. Like, here's things you need to know when you're moving to this area, or, those kinds of things.
So where do you go to get the most current information that is available to any particular type of buyer?
So I always start off with my lender first, like whoever I
I
feel
do that.
comfortable with, asking them questions. And like, if they don't want to answer your questions, my take on that is they're not your lender. Like,
Well, he's really willing to work with me and talk to me, and
okay, good.
we work
Okay.
well together. So
That's
I feel like I can do that. But rather than, I was just wondering if there was a specific place that you go, to see what the current, the best current programs are, or anything like that.
Can I chime in?
Yes, please.
So I'm a lender.
Oh.
So you shouldn't go anywhere else but your lender.
Okay,
Guidelines change so frequently.
that's what I was struggling with.
A good lender, like I got in a disagreement with a seasoned realtor on a Facebook group because there was a guideline change. And she threw a bit of a fit and she said I was wrong, that she was going to go to her preferred lender to verify the guideline. Unfortunately, her preferred lender missed reading the guideline that had just come out that week. And even though I copy and pasted the guideline into the group so she could read it from herself directly from FHA, she told me I was wrong. So have more than one lender that you talk to. Like my husband thinks it's funny. I call myself, I'm a guideline geek. Like I read every single email that comes through my inbox as far as guidelines go, so that because I do primarily work with first-time home buyers, investors, self-employed, pretty much anybody. I don't have a preferred client just because I know the guidelines inside and out. I do everything from VA, USDA, conventional, FHA. I actually just got a client approved this morning that they're 1 year out of Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Not 2, 1 year out of Chapter 7 bankruptcy. We did a manual underwrite, and because I knew the guidelines, I was able to structure the loan to get the underwriter to give that exception. So work with somebody who's knowledgeable, who's never going to turn you down when you ask questions. Because if they turn you down when you ask questions, that means they don't know, or they're not even willing to find out.
Exactly.
So if is there a particular thing that I could sign up for to just so that I could keep myself on top
Nope.
of those guidelines?
You have to be part of the NMLS. So you have to be a licensed loan officer to get those guideline updates.
Okay.
You can look directly at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, USDA, VA, FHA.
Oh, awesome.
All of them, they have their own, they publish them on their own websites.
Okay.
But if you don't know the underlying guidelines, you're not necessarily going to know what the updates even mean.
Okay.
So like,
Thanks so much, Vanessa.
you're welcome. Because like the one thing that changed, and that a lot of people, that this is what caused the argument, is FHA appraisals now stick to the property for 6 full months. Whereas they only used to stick to the property for 120 days. Now they stick to the property for 6 full months. And if you get the appraisal recertified at the 6-month time frame, it sticks to the property for an entire year.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So,
Yeah.
What was the last bit that you said?
So if an FHA appraisal is recertified within the original 6 months, it sticks with the property for an entire year. So say you have a listing and somebody offered and the appraisal say came in low, you're not going to want to take another FHA offer because that low appraised value is going to stick with the property for at minimum 6 months.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm licensed in all of your states but Florida. So if you guys have lending questions, I'm not the kind of loan officer that's going to say, okay, I answered your questions and I'll send you your client. So if you guys have lending questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer your questions if you're not able to reach your preferred lenders.
And one thing that I will say, like Vanessa and I have known each other, I'm thinking since like 2017, 2018, something like that. And unfortunately, her and I have never had a deal come together, like, you know, between us. But Vanessa is always the person that I go to, like if I have questions and I can't, you know, figure something out on my own or whatever. Vanessa is a really great source for information. So if like write her name down and save her info. She's a great resource.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So when it comes to lead generation, what has been the hardest thing for you ladies?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So, and nice to meet you, Corey.
Yeah, thank you.
I've just been inundated with so many lead generation type companies that I am confused. I guess I've been a realtor for 10 years, 10 plus years, and about 1.5 in a new area in LA. So I'm starting over again. And like I had a lead source that was good, but then it dried up. So now I'm like back to the drawing board and I'm trying to find the next bright, shiny object.
Okay, well, we're gonna
pay money
stop.
into.
I was
Right.
gonna say we're gonna stop that today. No more shiny objects.
Okay.
Shiny objects just waste our money, and like, okay. When any, like, really truly any technique, anything that you do consistently is going to work, right? Like, I tell my agents all the time that they need to be talking to at least 5 people a day, 5 days a week. I don't care if that's on the phone, I don't care if that's on Facebook, wherever, but they just need to be having two-way conversations every day, like not just thinking of buying or selling, like call me, like, no, like, you want the other person to be engaging back with you, so, having those conversations is easy when people come to you and say, I didn't know that, or tell me more about this thing, or whatever it is. So what I like to do is I like to always be offering something, on occasion I have like, I'll do a, of course, right now I can't think of the full title, like 13 expenses you need to know about when buying a house, or something like that. And it's not anything earth shattering, right? Like it's appraisals, it's appliances, and the things that may come up. It's nothing that is like, oh my God, I never would have thought of this. Like, no, but it's something that people are like, okay, all you want them to do is raise their hand and say, I'm interested in taking a step. And whatever that step may be, if it's like just reaching out to you to get the value of their home, like that's someone obviously you want to follow up with, that I would consider a lead. If someone reaches out to you and is like, hey, I want your 13 expenses list, like I look at that as someone who's a lead, who's like, okay, let's go. They may not be ready right now, and I'm cool with that, but I'm going to invite them back to my place, aka my group, so that I can stay in front of them.
So do you do this in your Facebook group? And like, how did you start this Facebook group? Because I mean, obviously, people want to join Facebook groups that are like 1,000 people or 500 people strong, not like 1 or 2, so how do you overcome that?
So here's the first thing. So I get in my head all the time about my Facebook group, okay? Because I started it and like I was feeding it, and then I kind of slowed down because I realized that I didn't want to compete with my agents. And so then I was kind of like a little hands off for a little while. And then I was like, but my people need me. Like, okay, I have to go back, But the thing is that even if it's a small group, like it just doesn't matter. Like that's a mindset thing that we're kind of putting on ourselves. Yes, they may be like, oh, there's only 300 people in here, there's only 10 people in here, whatever it is. But if you can show your value and you can show them, like, it's going to grow, and as you invite people and you share what you're doing and talk to people, it's going to grow. And the thing that I've realized, my group, I think at this point, like my home buyers group, I think has 710 members in it. And like my agents, they're always like, Corey, that's so many. And I'm like, man, I've been sitting on 700 for like, the last 6 months. Like, what are you talking about? But that's a mindset thing for me. Like, just because I know where I am, where I've been, that sort of thing. And so, I just look at it as it doesn't matter. What matters is the quality of the content you're putting out, the information that you're giving to them. That's what matters. And if they can see you as a source of information and knowledge and that sort of thing, they're going to come to you and they're going to come back and they're going to bring people with them. And if they don't, ask them to bring people with them. Like, don't be afraid, and the other thing is a lot of times people, like when I say, create a Facebook group or that sort of thing, like they don't know what kind of content to do or, those kinds of things. And the other thing that I would say about that is not everybody sees everything that you do. Like you post on Facebook, and like 20 people see it, right? Like, so you could post today, I'm a real estate agent, and tomorrow someone's going to ask you, what do you do? Right? Like, because they didn't see it. Like not everyone sees everything you do. So be a voice that, is like kind of loud and proud, not like just a one-time thing. You don't want to be a secret agent ever, right? Like that's not our business. So you want to keep talking and keep telling them stuff. And even if you do a post like today, I don't know, on the importance of recycling in your area, I don't know, I'm just making shit up. Anyway, so like, you like do a post today and then tomorrow it's like, well, I don't have anything. Well, a week ago, I posted this thing about painting the outside of your house. Let's do that. Next week, we'll post about recycling again. Like not everyone's going to see it. So it doesn't matter. And you can recycle that. And if they saw it already, like they're probably just going to scroll past it anyway. It's not like they're going to be like, okay, I'm out. She's sharing the same stuff, Sorry, kind of off on a tangent there, but
I have a question.
No,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nicole.
No. Go ahead.
Okay, I had a question about your 13 steps post. So do you actually post what the 13 steps are, or do you post, do you know them, and then you wait for people to inquire?
So basically, like I may say, I don't post it up front. Like I wait for people, like I'll say, something along the lines of, have you thought about buying a house? Or, are you not necessarily in the process, more have you thought about buying? And then like, if you've thought about it or you're thinking about it, you definitely want to see this, 13 expenses, whatever, PDF, whatever it is. And then like, basically anyone who, I call it raises their hand, but anyone who likes it or comments on it, is someone who I would reach out to, generally in a DM, maybe with a screenshot, like showing that they liked it or something, so that they know what you're talking about when you reach out to them. But basically just like, hey, I saw that you liked my post. Were you looking to get a copy of this? And then, like once they respond, then send it to them, but not like, I don't know. I always, not always, but most of the time I like to get like their approval first, like, because it starts the conversation. It's not just like, here's your thing, bye, like you're trying to have a conversation with them. So, try to kind of engage them a little bit. And one of the things that I'll always ask, is basically, where are you in the home buying process? Sometimes the conversation stops there, right? Like they're like, oh crap, that was a salesperson. I don't know, like, you know, but so sometimes it stops there, but it doesn't, like, that doesn't mean that they're not going to come back. I can't even begin to tell you how many times, like just yesterday I had someone and I was like, they're like, hello. And I was like going, okay, I don't know if I know this person. And so I'm like scrolling back. We talked last in 2018 and they are reaching out to me now. And like the last thing I sent them was, here's what your credit score needs to be, you know, and I'm just like, okay, so they came back to me. Here it is, you know, 2022, we're just, you know, going through the steps, whatever, you know, we'll figure it out. So have the conversation, you know, don't be afraid to be curious and ask them questions, because the only way we're going to be able to help them is to know what's going on with them. And the more information we can get, the better we can help them.
If you're afraid to ask some of those questions and kind of dive in, do a group call with your lender. We're not afraid to ask for everything, because we have to ask for everything. I jokingly tell people that they love me at the beginning, they hate me in the middle, and love me again at the end. Because part of my job makes them feel very violated. Because I have to ask so much. And I'm honest about it up front. I'm like, I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable because of the things that I have to ask. So they have a really good understanding in that no matter what I do, it's going to be an uncomfortable and stressful process, because I try to make sure everybody understands. No matter how well prepared you are at the very beginning, it doesn't matter how smooth your transaction goes, it's stressful.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think that that's very important too, as Vanessa was saying, is setting the expectations, because I don't know, like letting people know that you're a safe place and that you are, you know, the place that they can come for any information that they need, I think is very important also, just to be that voice and to be that person for them. So, you know, when you get out and, you know, you start talking to people and you're like inviting them back to your place, you know, you want them to like look at you and say like, I need my sprinklers fixed. Like, oh, I need to call Corey. She'll know someone. You know, you want to be that person. So, you know, if you're going out and you're like, let's say you go and try a new restaurant, like talk to the owners, you know, like share this restaurant in your group. Like people who are moving to your area want to know about where to eat, right? Like the good places, they want to see these things. The other businesses would love, in most cases, unless they're, never mind, I was going to say retarded or something, but like they want exposure also, right? Like they don't want to be hiding either. So like if you share their business on your page or your group, ask them to do the same for you, you know, and share back like whatever you're doing, and just have that relationship with them basically. So, okay, guys, what else?
Has anybody ever sent like a CMA to like sellers?
I have.
Curious.
I have done what did I call them? Real estate reviews. And basically, so like, okay, I did not come prepared with stats. It's some crazy number, like, okay, 60 or 70% of people are satisfied with the agent that helped them buy their house. But some, like, I want to say like 86% never hear from their agent again. And so basically they would use that agent, but they don't even know if that agent's still in business. So all of that to say, like, if there's a house that, you know, let's say sold a year ago, and you know that, you know, prices have gone up in the last year, like maybe I will do that. Maybe do like offer them a real estate review. You know, have you okay, two different things. One, I will send them out and just do a real estate review, or I will offer it on Facebook as a way to get people to reach out to me. Okay, so, but no worries, Yvonne, you're good. Feel free to join in. Anyway, but basically, sorry, my brain is like flying everywhere. When I offer a real estate review, I'm talking about like, okay, you know, prices have gone up, your insurance may, you know, not have kept up, your taxes maybe are out of whack, like some of those things. And basically I will like offer to evaluate essentially their situation or help them evaluate their situation. If I send it directly to a seller, I'm more in like, here's kind of an equity review. You know, if I send it unsolicited, like, you know, here's what you bought it for, here's what it's worth today, you know, send them kind of like an RPR report. And there's one that's like 12 or 13 pages, and I'll send that, and basically a letter like with kind of an about me, you know, that kind of has my like what I do or whatever. And then a letter that's, I'm not normally asking for a sale. It's more like, you know, here's how much equity you have, here's what that means, you know, here's options for you, you know, sort of thing. And I can't say that it has presented me with any opportunities as of yet, but I've only started doing it not too long ago. But I did, like, one of the people that I sent it to, well, let me back up again. I love foreclosures, but I hate that people are losing their houses in foreclosure. And so I recently found in RPR that I could find the people who are losing their houses, and I can reach out to them before they lose their houses and basically offer them like an equity review or you know, something, so that maybe I can help them sell their house before they lose it in foreclosure. So that's the way that I've been approaching this. And basically, you know, one of the people just sold their house, and my son did an open house this weekend on it, but it was essentially one of the people that I had sent something out to. And I was so like, I truly didn't care that they sold it to someone, you know, that it didn't involve me, but I was just thankful that they didn't lose it in foreclosure. So, you know, it's, I don't know that I answered your question at all, but I know I rambled on a little bit, but
Does RPR have any shorter versions? Because one niche that I've gone after, and especially now that I have the seller who's still in the house,
Mhm.
I really do enjoy the probate because they have to sell.
Right,
And nobody in the house.
right.
So it makes it much easier. It's like, okay, in order to, but one of the things that probate requires is usually like some kind of valuation. And I'm just wondering if maybe that would be something, like if there was a shorter thing that I could maybe send to people who have been appointed as executor or executrix of an estate. Just to say,
I would,
oh, here's something.
exactly. I think that I would send, I mean, basically, I'm trying to think what that report is called, but you can take out pages, like you can make it so that it is shorter.
There's actually a tool like some lenders have that I have it myself. It's called HomeBot, that you can enter in like somebody who, a buyer or seller within HomeBot, or even a shopping buyer. And you can enter the address of, say, a seller or somebody that you've spoken to that you want to get reports on value. It sends them a monthly CMA.
Oh,
It
awesome.
shows them the current value of the home based, and then how much equity they have based on their current mortgage amount. So what happens is whenever you connect with a lender that has this, they'll upload all of your data for you, sellers, buyers, whatever, and then they'll list it out and send these reports. And then if somebody has an inquiry, you get an email or a text message saying that the person wants more information. And at that time you can dive into giving them more details. But this, basically what this is for is to keep you in the front of their mind.
Right.
Like the normal click rate on opening an email is at 25%. My click rate on people opening my HomeBot emails is 78%.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because people want to know what the value of their home is. And it's not intrusive. It's not salesy. It's just basically gives them an update. It lets them know that if they're in a position, if their interest rate's high, it lets them know that they're in a position that they could possibly lower their interest rate and payment. It tells them when they're at a point where they can get rid of mortgage insurance based on equity. So it gives them pertinent information that sellers and buyers want to know. And it's an inexpensive tool. Like, so the way it's set up is if you have less than 25 contacts, it's free, totally free. If you have more than 25 contacts, then it costs you $20 a month and it costs your lender $20 a month.
Okay.
So it's not a super expensive tool and it's really easy to use. I have one agent in Arizona that really uses it a lot because she looks for people who she is friends with a lot of her buyers. So she sees when people have more kids or kids went off to college or things like that. And she uses HomeBot in conjunction with being friends with them on Facebook to reach out and say, hey, I noticed you have, your family's growing. Are you needing to upgrade your home? Are you needing more room? Or with people with kids leaving, do you want to downgrade? And things like that. So it's a really beneficial tool that's not intrusive.
I love that. We're going to have to talk about that, Vanessa.
Okay.
I didn't know that you had this tool. I haven't heard of this one.
Yep. And then there's another one that I just signed up for this week or this last week. It's basically to help with listings. So it creates a customized website for all of your listings. And then whenever you send that out anywhere, if somebody inquires, it requests all their contact information. So it's also a lead generation tool.
Awesome.
And you can use it to market to for sale by owners as well, because you can enter the for sale, like the seller's information in the for sale by owner section, and you can use it to market to try to get that listing for yourself instead of have it for sale by owner.
Okay, that's cool. So like basically you could help the for sale by owner, like you would not necessarily be telling them up front, like I'm doing this, but it'll start sending them stuff drafted by you basically.
Yep. It'll send them all your information and it'll show them what you would do as their realtor.
That's awesome. Okay. That's really cool. I'm going to have to check that out some more. I know you sent me the link.
Yes, I did.
That's really awesome. Now you've got my head exploding again with like all these things, these new things. All right. So what other thoughts do you guys have? What other questions or things do you have? Nothing? Okay. All right. Well, basically, I think that, so real quick, the 13 expenses deal, what I'm going to have you guys do, if I think Carolyn, I think I've sent it to you in the past. I don't know for sure, but if you would like it, I'm going to have you guys send me a DM so that then, I have it in my inbox and I can just send it back to you guys, if that's okay. On Facebook, if you don't mind. Anyways, so sorry, writing myself a note real quick too. If I don't write myself notes, I forget, and then it's just no good for anybody, right? So anyways, one of the things that I love to do is, you know, I do a lead generation challenge. And basically when I do that, the things that we talk about are essentially in my opinion, the basics of reaching people and getting to the bottom of like getting them to come to you. So the things that you're going to need to know is essentially every single time you sit down to write out an ad or a post or anything like that, like every single time you want to know exactly who you're talking to. So, you know, you don't want to be talking to both a buyer and a seller in the same post. You want to keep that separate. So that's one tip. And another is you want to know what their problem is. Like, what are they struggling with that you can help them with? You know, like maybe as a first-time home buyer, they're struggling just because they don't think they can buy a house. And if you show them, you know, they may think it's a credit issue or a money issue. But if you can show them, hey, you know, the minimum credit score is 580 and, you know, we can help you get down payment assistance and maybe even help with closing costs. Like that's going to show them that the barrier to entry is pretty low, you know, that they can actually do this. So solving their problem is important. The biggest thing to remember though, when you're solving anyone's problem is that you are really the answer. Like, you know, you are the person who's going to be able to help guide them. You're the person, you're the answer to all of their problems, basically. They just need to come to you. So it's all a matter of just starting conversations and like bringing it back to that, no matter what you want to be talking to people. So like every day having those conversations. And like I said, in my office, I suggest that everyone talk to 5 people a day. When I had a talk with another agent this morning and he was telling me, you know, I've been in corporate America for 20 years and all this stuff. And basically, you know, I need more leads. I need more leads. And I was like, okay. And when I told him, you know, that he needs to talk to like 5 people a day, he was kind of like, I think a little underwhelmed, right? Like, is that all? Like, I could do that, like, no problem. And I was just like, we're trained, you know, that 9 to 5, like you have to be working and you have to be doing something during all of this time, right? So don't feel like you have to constantly be doing something or you're not being productive. It's just not the way it works. You know, in real estate, you're not going to be busy like 24/7. And if you are, you're probably not doing money making activities. You're probably doing, you know, other things. I mean, it's not all like go, go, go all the time. You know what I mean? So do you have anything else to say, Vanessa?
Be consistent.
Yes.
That's the biggest key to lead generation. Because like, so this is going to sound weird, but like I love my realtor partners and I love their referrals, but most of my clients I get on my own. I do most of my own lead generation. And the way that works for me is I don't sell loans, I sell my knowledge. So I answer questions, I provide support. I've even gone as far as calling a buyer's lender who was supposed to close in a week and a half to fix their problem so that they could close with their current lender because there wasn't time to change. So just that one transaction, I got 10 referrals from it. So being consistent and being like, I tell newer loan officers and junior loan officers in my office, fake it till you'll make it. You're behind a screen and you're providing information online. So if you don't know the answer, look it up really fast and provide the correct information. Like,
Exactly.
everybody's gonna scream, I can help, I can help, I can help. I get more responses from me answering their questions and comments instead of saying, hey, I'll send you a message, or hey, I can do your deal.
Yeah. I agree with that. Well, ladies, do you have, oh, Carolyn, I saw you. What?
So Vanessa, where are you doing that? Are you doing that like in Facebook groups to answer
Yep.
their questions?
Mhm.
Okay.
Moms groups, moms are always in there asking questions about how to buy a house, or what programs, what down payment assistance, I need help with credit to buy a house, things like that. I go on there and, like, if somebody says, I need help with credit towards buying a house. Okay, well, what do you have going on with credit that's causing your issues, so that you can get to the next steps? And I will give them all of the answers on how they need to do pay to delete, or if they have high balances. Like, I won't have them apply. I won't do anything like that. I'll give them my knowledge freely so that they can proceed how they see fit. And, like, a really good example of that is in 2020, I did a first-time homebuyer class and a local moms group. I had probably 150 moms on the Zoom call for the first-time homebuyer class. Last week, I got a message on Facebook from one of those moms that I haven't spoken to since 2020, that she's ready to buy her house. And she reached back out to me because I was the one who set her on the path to get where she needed to be. So it's not necessarily going to give you buyers instantly or sellers instantly either, but they'll remember you.
Yeah. I agree with that so much. That's what I was saying earlier too. Like, this gal reached out to me yesterday from 2018, and I'm just like, I clearly haven't followed up with her, right? Like, but she's ready now. So that's what we're working with, but you just being that person for them, like being the person that they need at the time they need it, like going in. Vanessa and I are both in first-time homebuyer groups together and stuff. And, going in there and answering questions. They may not be people like who are in your market, but let's say you're in there and you're answering questions and someone else asks a question, they may remember you and say, oh, Nicole is in your market, talk to Nicole. She's got the answers. Kind of the same like Vanessa, if someone's in one of those groups asking, for a lender, I'm like in there tagging Vanessa because I know Vanessa is going to be great for them, so like the more people you talk to, even if they're not in your area, they may still be a referral source for you. All right, ladies, do you guys have any questions or anything, or how are you feeling?
I have a question for Vanessa. So Vanessa, you work with a lot of agents, and do you
Not
know?
really, only about 6.
Oh, only about 6. Okay.
I'm picky.
Picky's good sometimes, right? You don't need to be, something to everyone. Do you know with the 6 that you work with, do you know, what programs like Zillow or whatever work for your 6?
So for lead generation, Zillow is the worst thing you want to do. I did Zillow leads with a broker and his entire team in the Bay Area for 2.5 years. For the first 2 years, it was okay. It was paying for itself, and we were probably closing 2 deals a month that were the Zillow leads. But since they started their Zillow Elite program, their leads aren't worth buying. In the bigger markets like LA and San Francisco and those bigger cities with the higher prices, you're gonna find that a lot of the like grassroots way of going online and posting an ad in the marketplace or in a Facebook group isn't going to work as well. Because doing that in those bigger markets, you're going to get a lot of people who don't make nearly enough money to purchase a home in that area, but they're seeing those ads and it gives them hope.
Right.
So, because I tried that when I first became a self-source loan officer, I tried doing that, and it was just a lot of people who just didn't qualify, and it broke my heart. Because I'm not the kind of loan officer that says no. I'm the kind of loan officer that says not yet,
Exactly.
and let's get you there. But it's really hard to tell someone not yet if they only make $17.50 an hour and the median price for a home is $500,000 a year or $500,000.
Right.
So you have to be a little bit more like in LA specifically. One of the things that works really, really well is online networking. So networking not with realtors and loan officers, networking with lawyers and title people and real estate agents and things like that, and getting your name out there so that if, like, this is going to sound horrible, but divorce lawyers are an asset, because you can buy a home as a first-time home buyer after you've been divorced. Even if you were on title to a home, you're considered, once you're divorced and you're off that title, you're instantly given the first-time home buyer benefits again. So lawyers, like I said, those are really, really good sources in the bigger markets to get referrals.
And sorry, you were saying something doesn't work, like were you saying Facebook ads doesn't work, or?
Nope. Not in my experience. I've tried doing Facebook ads in LA and in San Francisco, and they did not work at all.
Okay, that was what you were referring to, right? Facebook type ads. Yeah, you get I make $15 an hour and I have $5,000 to my name and I want to buy a house. Yeah.
Like right now, I have buyers in San Diego. The entire family is pulling together to buy a house together. It's taking all 4 incomes for them to be able to afford a house in San Diego big enough for their family.
But it's a good step.
It is a good step. And what it'll end up doing is, in a few years, when the sons are older and wanting to start a family of their own, it will set them up in a better position.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I wanted to say is that, like a lot of times, as far as Facebook ads go, a lot of times people will go out and pay for Facebook ads with something that is not proven to get leads. Like if you're going to do things like Facebook ads, you want something that's already getting leads for you organically, and then go. I'm really cheap too, so maybe that's why. But I'm not gonna go and spend my money on an ad that's like not doing anything for me already. Like if I'm posting something, and my favorite from this year was the you're buying a house either way, like, or how was it? You're buying a house no matter what, like you need to decide if it's for your landlord or for yourself. Like that was my favorite post this year. It triggered so many people, and they were like, okay, Corey, like you called me out basically, like, okay, it's time, but when you see something and it's like getting traction, and it's like waking people up and it's making them take notice, that's where I would run an ad. You know, like if you see something and it's like, oh, I'm triggering people, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, like then go and spend your money and, you know, have a bigger reach. But you know, as far as like running ads, like a lot of agents I see in these groups asking about lead generation and stuff, they're asking about, you know, running ads, they're asking about basically buying leads and stuff. And my answer is always like, just don't do it, you know. But I know that's not helpful, but it's so much. There's, especially when you're looking at like Zillow and all those, like there's so much competition and so much, you know, like they're giving them to multiple people and you're fighting over them. And that's not like, what are you paying for then? Right? Like it's not, it's, if you're fast, it might work. I don't know, but it's just, you know, it's not a good, in my opinion, but again, I'm cheap. So it's not the way I would spend my money. So I truly believe that getting people attraction marketing and getting people to reach out to you is the best way, you know, but do that through education, do that with your knowledge. Like it doesn't have to be something different and flashy and like, you know, shiny and whatever. Like it just has to be you being authentic and telling them how you can help them, how you can change their world. I mean, you know, in a heartbeat, you know, you can change their world for them, like with just information. Like you can show them that they can do something, you know. And like Vanessa was saying, a lot of times, you know, when you start giving hope like that, you will find, you know, people who maybe can't afford things right away or whatever. But that's like Vanessa said, like for me too, I'm not the type of person who can turn them away. Like I am, let's go, I'll find you resources, I'll figure this out, you know, so when you're ready, you can do this. And I guess I'm kind of a no one left behind type of person, right? Like I want to help everyone. I know I can't help everyone, but I want to help everyone. And one of my girlfriends told me this spring, she's like, Corey, you are not Jesus. You cannot save everybody. I was like, okay, I'll try to remember that. But you know, it is hard because there are people that who really want it and just can't, you know, and that at this time anyway. But you know, you can put them into a Facebook group, you can nurture them and grow them, you know, and they're not going to be in the same situation for forever, right? Or at least we hope not. So you can help them move forward in the future. But all right, guys, I don't want to keep you guys on here too long, but what's been helpful today?
I like the divorce attorney idea. I just am not really sure the best way to reach out to them, but I do think some of that is, you know, that's probably a good way to go.
I think so too. I think, you know, maybe on your list of people that you want to be talking to, you know, maybe reach out, and maybe coffee is not an option for them, but maybe it is. Do a Zoom or something, just a coffee chat or something, and, you know, meet people that way.
So just a tip, nobody likes being taken out for coffee. Like so there's a lot of new loan officers in my office, and they're always calling realtors, can I take you out for coffee? Can I take you out for coffee? What I've worked on doing is teaching them how to get their own leads, so that when they call to introduce themselves to a realtor, it's, hey, I have this buyer and I think they'd be a great fit for you.
Yeah.
So you're providing benefit to get benefit. I'm not one who is, I'm going to take all of your benefit but provide nothing in return. For me, my partnerships are true partnerships. We lead generate together, and each transaction is like, our buyers know we're on the same page and we communicate, and they're not going to have loan officer pitted against realtor.
Exactly. I think that that's very important. And I think it's also important for us as agents to remember that most loan officers are not like Vanessa. That this is like, I love Vanessa so much, but like today, I think it was today, I saw a post and someone was like, it was supposed to be funny. I think the person who was posting it was meaning it to be funny, but basically they were asking kind of like what loan officers could do for them or something like that, and I don't know the way it's said, but anyway, the point is that most loan officers are not out there getting their own leads. Like most loan officers are kind of counting on us. So when we look at a loan officer and go like, oh, well, you should be giving me leads too, most of the time we are more so their lead source. Vanessa is different because she has for years been a lead generator herself. Like she's not just waiting for a realtor to bring her a lead.
You'll also learn that nobody wants to talk to a lender. Like nobody wants to hear that they don't qualify. Nobody wants to hear that their credit score isn't great. That's why it's a lot easier to lead generate as a realtor than it is a loan officer, because everybody wants the warm and fuzzy feeling of, okay, I'm getting ready for the process of buying a house. Nobody wants the financial reality of what those steps are. So that's why you'll find that you'll talk to a buyer and the buyer seems very, very excited about the whole process. And you'll send them to your lender. They won't answer and they won't call back.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know that they're not in the right position. But they called you and you made them feel wonderful and you got them all excited. And then having to talk to somebody like me,
It's scary.
reality comes crashing down.
Yeah.
So when you do the transition to have somebody talk to your lender, do a 3-way text. That way you're part of that initial communication and that turns you into the rock for your buyer and your support system for your lender so that the buyer knows that you're involved and the LO knows that you're going to see all the communication. So if this person stops responding, you know why.
Exactly.
I do the same exact thing. Hi, I'm Yvonne. I'm
Hi.
a realtor too. And I do the same exact thing. I have my realtor partners do a group text because then you're handing it off to the lender, but they know that we have that partnership that we're communicating with each other. So
Yep.
it works out a lot better that way. And I am a lot like Vanessa too, is I am I get my own leads. I do have realtor partners and when I don't take them to coffee, I take them golfing. There's a lot of deals done golfing. But that's more an appreciation for the partnership than trying to get something from you or him trying to get something to me. From me, it's more just building that relationship more. But I have had a family that I started off with one phone call of a family member that was, I know I can't buy a house right now. I know my credit's awful, but I'm willing to do the work. And I got her approved and bought a home. And from then on, I've had 30 members of her family. I've done their deals just because they just keep passing me along. And it's really amazing just to be able to get that kind of leads going. And you could say, as a lender, she's exactly right. We are the bad news people. I mean, we have to kind of just shoot straight and say, this is exactly what you need to get done. If you want that home that you want to have, you just got to shoot straight and give them the information and get them the information to get and obtain that goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that education is everything. I mean, like I said, it's just everything.
So I have a question. Lawyers are a good source, right? But the way I think about lawyers is that, my goodness, they're bombarded by so many different realtors. And maybe I'm new, right, compared to some relationship that they forged with another realtor like 20 years ago, 10 years ago. So how do you break through, or what's the strategy behind that?
What sets you apart? Every person is different, and not every person is meant to work with any other person. So what sets you apart and what makes you different, that you're going to provide more value to not all of their clients, but a certain number of clients. Give them a backup. So say they referred somebody to their regular realtor partner, but it just wasn't a good fit. Be that backup, because that backup can turn into the main person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not always about being the main source or being intrusive. It's about saying, I'm willing to work hard for your clients if they're not happy with who they're working with now. Just putting that little nudge that that they've got other partners, but you're wanting to give yourself a chance and give them a chance to open another door.
Lately, I've been working on it, we'll say. I've sent it out, but I've been working on it. So I have an about me page that, not necessarily a unique selling proposition, but, kind of your unique qualities that, set you apart. I have a whole section for that, and so maybe even sending something like that to them, when you're communicating with them, so they can see who you are, so they know about you, that sort of thing, so they can put a face to a name and everything.
I have a question about the about me thing. I
Okay.
have not done this. And people tell me that I should, but I'm really uncertain about what I'm supposed to include, because I have been only a wife and a mom for years and years.
So you're good with organization of schedules, I'm thinking, right?
Yes.
I would say you still have skills. You have things that you have figured out over the years that, set you apart, right? Use your skills. It doesn't matter that you were managing your kids, and their schedule and whatever. You are good at organizing. You're good at this. You're good at that. Think about the things that being a mom has prepared you for. You are good with dealing with picky people, difficult clients, right? All the things. There's so much, but don't ever limit yourself and think damn, I've only been a mom and this is all I've known. No, you know a hell of a lot. And there's so many people who are just getting started. I look at my son who just got licensed and he's 19, right? And he's there's a part of me as a mom that's oh, I'm afraid that people aren't going to go to him because he's so young and this and that and whatever. Man, this kid, he's talking to everyone. And I am sitting here going, damn, I wish I could be more like him. Right. But he's he's going out and he's educating his friends. He's talking to people who graduated a couple years ago. He's talking to these kids about credit and building their credit and all these things. He's creating a lead source for himself. You know what I mean? Because no one else is talking to these kids. And we know this because our kid was one of these kids a year ago. Right. And so he's creating this lead source for himself by educating other people that need to know this, but have never been told. So you have skills, you have abilities, and just take them and grab them and hold on to them. You'll pick up other things along the way, right? This is for now.
But in the about me, do I actually include that I'm a mom of, kids, or is that something that I don't include?
I
Hey.
include it.
Yeah, that's who you are. I think to me, when I'm talking, it's about being real. It's about showing your everyday life. I mean, you're real. I mean, mom, that's one of the toughest jobs. I mean, you manage a lot. I put everything in. I put, I have what I like to do, my past experiences, stuff like that. That's all just to make you a real person that you're going to be able to connect when you're out there doing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You want, like, honestly, there are some agents who will like make themselves a Facebook page or a whatever, they're a new profile and like keep it all separate. But I know for me, the people that I connect with, coaches and all these people, like, if it's all business, I don't want anything to do with them, right? Like, they're not my people. Like, if I can see that they're real people and it's not just about the sale all the time, like it's about seeing them in their real life, and like connecting with them and feeling like them, that you can trust them. And that's the piece that people want. They want to trust the person they're working with. And so when you're authentic and you're showing them who you are and what you're about, they're going to be attracted to you, and you're going to attract the people that are meant to be in your world, not just everyone under the sun, and be picky too. That's another thing. Be picky. Like, not everyone is your client.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Oh,
Can I ask you one last question?
yeah, of course.
Have you ever gone out to the people like in your network or Facebook to see what kinds of things they do? Like if you have plumbers or electricians or handymen, or like, because I think to Vanessa's point, and actually I read like Michael Maher's book on 7 levels of communication or something like that. And actually it's, I think what Vanessa was doing is kind of what he was talking about is, if you give out enough referrals, you will start to get back referrals.
Yep.
Basically, so try and help. So if you're helping more people, it will come back to you in a way almost.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of wondering, has anybody figured out a way to like go out to your groups of people to see what kinds of services they offer?
Yeah, just post it on Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah, just post it on Facebook, and you'll get a lot of engagement because people like referrals. So in turn, find out what they do, find out where they do it, especially handymen and stuff like that. They're not going to work all over an entire big city.
Yep.
So pick your partners, and in turn say, hey, I'll start referring clients to you if you know anybody looking to buy. I cover this entire big area, so let's work together and figure out how to help each other grow.
Exactly. And sharing, like I said earlier, sharing their business, ask them to share yours as well. Like, it does not hurt to ask. And if, they want, like, okay, so one of the things that I started doing recently is, so I have several Facebook groups that are like buy, sell, trade groups and stuff. And I will put in there, like, so on my banner, I always call it a banner, and I know that's not what it's called, but I always call it a banner anyway. Whatever, the big picture that's long and like a banner. Anyway, I'll put on there like all of my contact information and everything. And then when I go and I welcome people into the group, I'm always saying, like, if you're a small business owner or, whatever, reach out to me. I love promoting other small businesses. And then, we can kind of partner that way if it's something that's aligned with me.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys, anything else? Oh, yes. Thank you. Cover photo. Thank you. I never ever remember that. I always think banner. All right. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun. I appreciate all of you guys hopping on. And, anytime you guys have questions, like I know Vanessa's always here, I'm always here, feel free to reach out and ask any questions you have. And like Vanessa said, and like I'm gonna say, like I expect from you guys, right? Like if we don't have the answers, we'll help you get them. So, just let us know how we can help. All right.
Thank you, Corey.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Vanessa.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.